Hey up guys, I'm Mason. I'm a completely blind wrestling fan and this is my podcast, Wrestling in the Dark, and I am very, very excited because it's finally here. The Wednesday Night Wars finally get to kick off. It feels like I've been waiting ages for October 2nd, but NXT versus AEW finally gets officially underway tonight, and I'm well excited, like really, really excited. Takes the channel in a whole new direction because I will be starting, as of tonight, the Wednesday night commentary wars #WNCW league table, which means, as anyone who might have listened to this podcast for a while now will know, I hand out points every time the commentary says something informative or illustrative, and I take points away every time they say something vague or reactionary. And now, rather than just handing them out arbitrarily, they're going to go into a league table. So over the next month, I'm going to be bringing you the commentator of the night, week, and month, and eventually year, and also the commentary team of the night. So it's going to be really, really interesting over this next sort of week as I absorb all of this new wrestling to see how it all sort of pans out and who ends up where. I will be surprised if Nigel McGuinness doesn't end up towards the top of the league table, because he's my absolute favourite. But other than that, I'm really not sure where everyone's going to come in at. It's going to be a really interesting first set of rankings, so make sure, if you're not subscribed right now, make sure you do, so that you can hear my AEW review, my NXT review, and then the commentary rankings on Monday, if everything goes to plan. I can't promise you that properly because technology really likes to fuck me over and doesn't work a lot of the time. So if all goes to plan, the WNCW video will be up on Monday. I really think that Morrow might end up coming up the top of the table this week. I have no idea why. I just feel like these last two NXT episodes that we've had have seen Nigel and Morrow sort of clash. It's felt a little bit like Morrow's been taking the lead, which is obvious because he is the lead play-by-play guy, but I felt like occasionally he stepped on Nigel's toes and they've sort of cut each other up, and I think that might actually affect the points in the end, and I think that Morrow will probably end up coming out with higher points, at least for this week, but we'll soon see. I wanted to get into some sort of a preview and predictions type thing, I guess, since we've got so much on the line this week. So let's get started with the women of wrestling this week. We've got a women's match on each show. On NXT, we've got Shayna Baszler defending her NXT Women's Championship against Candice LeRae, and the inaugural Women's Championship for AEW is on the line between Riho and Nyla Rose. These two are going to be really, really interesting to see how they go side by side, how they stack up against each other. It's definitely a good little bit of counter-programming, in my opinion, having Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler. With Friday Night SmackDown starting on Fox, it's going to be interesting to see whether they do actually want Shayna Baszler, whether she's going to get called up and drop that title, or whether this is just another case of, she's had the title for ages and SmackDown and all that lot, and she's going to drop the title, because that's what we've been saying for months. Like, every time I've done a predictions for these pay-per-views since I started watching, I've been like, will she drop it? Will this be the time? And I'm at that point again where I'm like, yeah, I think that this is the time. You want a big, massive moment for NXT, and I think with it going into a new era, Candice LeRae is the right way to go, in my opinion, and I'm going to predict that she will come out with the win. I just think that it's a good refresher. You've got a really stacked women's division building up in NXT at the minute, with Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo debuting in the crowd last week, the return of Dakota Kai, Rhea Ripley mixing things up. There's just a lot going on at the minute, and I feel like it's very refreshed as a title scene, already with the Io Shirai and Mia Yim, Bianca Belair. There's so many different feuds and matches and angles you can come at with Candice LeRae going forward. Whereas I'm really, really not sure where they would go with Shayna Baszler if they choose to have her retain. With Riho and Nyla Rose, I'm at a loss. I wish that I could tell you what I thought, but I really, really don't know. I'd like to see Riho win. Regular listeners will know that I really like Riho. Even as a blind person, I'm really intrigued by her in-ring style because the commentary has done a fairly good job of letting us know what she's doing, and I love running knee strikes. Running, leaping knee strikes just get me going when it comes to wrestling, especially when they're to the back of the head, and Riho's been doing them quite a lot. Nyla Rose has been pretty impressive. They've really given her that sort of monster heel woman, Beth Phoenix, Nia Jax type push, and I'm really interested to see where they go here, because it's all bets are out the window when it comes to AEW. It's not you can't think with your WWE brain. Like, they just don't work under the same rules, and I'd like to think that they would go with Riho so they can push that Japanese connection that they've got, and sort of just show that they are going to be a little bit different, rather than just, this big person is much stronger than this little person. She's only 98 pounds. Ooh, her waist is so small. I'm going to get myself going again, but I really hope that they have Riho win, but I'm really not sure that they're going to. So heart says Riho, head says Nyla, and I'm probably going to stick with that as an actual prediction, that it's going to be Nyla Rose. Should be fairly interesting to see where they go past that with the stories. They've not really got too many stories set up in the AEW women's division right now, in terms of, you got Britt Baker and Bea Priestley who hate each other. That's cool. Riho and Nyla Rose are fighting over the championship, and that's cool, but past that do we really have too much going on? So it's going to be really interesting over the next few weeks to see how that all unfolds, especially side by side with what I'm assuming is going to be the coronation and rise of Candice LeRae, which should be really interesting. It's a shame that she didn't end up being champion when Johnny was, because I think that would have been quite a cool little thing, but I don't think that we've seen the last of Johnny Gargano's championship runs when it comes to NXT. I really don't. I think that he's going to be a fixture going forwards. I don't think that we're going to get him on the main roster anytime soon, or if he does, I don't think it'll be an exclusively main roster thing. I think that they want to use him to build NXT, and I do think that in the future he'll hold the NXT championship again. So maybe we could get a situation where Candice and Johnny are both champion at the same time. But do we really want that though either, Mason? I'm asking myself for some reason. But because we had the Seth and Becky thing, and that's not really made them look that cool, but I feel like it'd be different in NXT anyway. So yeah, that's the women's side of things. Then we've got the Tag Team Championship match, which will be Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era in NXT. This one should be really cool. Apparently, Wale is going to be with the Street Profits, so hopefully they might be a little bit more chill than they usually are. I'm not a fan of the Street Profits' energy and their promo style. I just feel like it's a little bit Usos light. I know people don't really agree with me, but that's fine. I just think with the one guy says something, the other guy says something, one guy says something, the other guy says something, like that's like the Usos thing, like playing off each other. And it's been okay while they've not been around, but apparently they're supposed to be returning on SmackDown, and if they are back around and now Street Profits are on the main roster, I just think that each of them will probably lower the shine of each. But yeah, Street Profits versus Undisputed Era, man, I think that it's a pretty safe bet that Undisputed Era win here. It seems like they're trying to make us think Street Profits might pull off the win, especially with having like a special guest celebrity hype man, or whatever you want to call it. It seems a safe bet, though, that Undisputed Era pick up the win, because I just can't see them dropping the Draped in Gold storyline after it's only just started. I think that focusing on Undisputed Era as a group going forwards in NXT is a really clever idea, because they're a perfect counter for the Elite. So that brings me to Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle for the NXT Championship. Like I said, I think it's a pretty safe bet that all members of Undisputed Era walk out with the win here. Even if they do a North American title match, which they haven't announced yet, but I wouldn't be surprised, I think they'll all walk out with that win. Like I said, it's just really clever to focus on them as a group. Adam Cole's not been champ for that long, even though I really like Matt Riddle, and I really like Matt Riddle. He's got a really cool submission offense. He's vicious, which is really cool as a counterpart to the fact that he's supposed to be this super chilled out guy. I really like his style, and I think as an NXT champion he'll be really cool, and it will be his time at some point, probably within the next year, but I just can't see him beating Adam Cole yet, especially not because Cole's title reign's been short. They've only just started the Draped in Gold storyline, and it should be fairly interesting to see whether Riddle loses because Cole beats him clean, which is something that Cole tends to do, surprisingly. It happened with Johnny, and it just seems to happen where he can pull it off without the aid of Undisputed Era. So it'll be funny to see whether he can do it on his own, or whether Undisputed Era get involved, or whether maybe Killian Dane comes out, or maybe even Imperium, because it'd be really cool to see Imperium come out, wreck Adam Cole, and get a Cole versus Walter, Imperium versus Undisputed Era type thing. That'd be really cool. I'm really excited for this match, though. I think it should be absolutely killer. So on the AEW side of things, we of course have Cody versus Sammy Guevara. This one should be an interesting one. It's just going to be the question, isn't it, every single week? Will Cody lose now? Will he lose now? Will he lose now? And to be honest, I'm in agreement with something that the indie correspondent, Glenn Harding, said, where he pointed out that it would be a massive sort of move to have the Elite lose on this first episode of AEW, for Cody to have his first loss handed to him on the first episode of Dynamite. But I just can't see him doing it. Sammy Guevara's not been too heavily featured and hasn't really caught my attention that much. That might be my fault. I don't know whether it's theirs, his, or mine, but either way, he hasn't caught my attention too much. And I just can't see them giving Cody that loss, especially not with him having the title match with Jericho coming up, and them having such a focus on the win-loss record, etc., etc. So I think Cody will definitely go over with that one. And then, of course, we've got Kenny Omega, crazy Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks versus Jericho and Santana and Ortiz, formerly known as LAX. This one I'm fairly interested to see how it goes down. I'm looking forward to seeing Jericho in action again. I've never seen LAX in action, really, so I'm looking forward to that one. I definitely think that these three, are going to be the three members of the Elite to lose, because I think you want to keep Jericho looking strong as the champion. You want to give Santana and Ortiz a big rival. So I think that their team goes over, and that can just play into that storyline that they've got going on of, like, can Kenny Omega pull it off? Oh, he's descending into madness. Oh, the Young Bucks aren't happy about this, and they can just carry on with that, because it's been a fairly interesting and entertaining storyline, like seeing the unraveling of Kenny Omega as he refuses to become the person that the Young Bucks want back, this cleaner persona that he had. But yeah, I definitely think that they're going to get the loss in this one. And then, of course, it's Hangman Page versus Pac, and this one, again, interesting, because do you have Hangman lose here and continue Pac's winning streak, which he picked up because of the sort of the Mox injury, or do you go with what you were originally going to go with this match, with Pac losing and Hangman picking up the win, which starts him back on his road to redemption, gets back on the horse so he can ride and lasso Jericho. Been playing a bit too much Red Dead, I think. But Yeah, I really don't know what I'd do if I had the boot. Whether I'd put Pac over or put Hangman over, but I think that I'm gonna predict that it'll be Pac because I think they can go with this storyline of Adam Page not quite being as good as the Elite thought thought he was. Sorry, and then he has to like prove himself over the next couple of months as he slowly gets back into the title contention and proves that he is every good as bit as they thought, and then that allows Pac to sort of keep his dominant heel persona and just carries on the momentum that he picked up with his last win. So yeah, I think that Pac goes over there. Hopefully, anyway, I'd like to see a nice, strong British character get featured, and Pac I'm interested to see stuff from because I've only seen stuff as Adrian Neville, which I was never a huge fan of. Like, I liked him, but I'd never thought that he was like amazing. Whereas in some of the character work I've seen from Pac in different promos, etc., has been pretty cool. So yeah, I think we've reached the end of it all, really. Just these preview and predictions. I'm really, really excited to get started with this whole Wednesday Night Wars thing and the Wednesday Night Commentary Wars League table, which I just feel like is going to take the channel all the way to this next step. So, like I said, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed so that you don't miss my AEW and NXT reviews, and you're always kept up to date with the WNCW League table. If you've got anything you want to say about AEW or NXT, just leave it in the comments section, you know where that is, or you can say it to me on Twitter at Mason_WITD, or you can join the Discord server, which I'll be putting down in the description. I'm excited, I hope you guys are excited, and I hope everyone gets their satisfaction from tonight's wrestling. Right guys, I'm off, and you should have a good one. Push me, and then just touch me, till I can get my satisfaction.